Hello, everyone. Welcome to their Spiritual Spotlight series. Today, I am joined by Liz Entin. Liz is a sciencey skeptic who began investigating if there was evidence of an afterlife after the passing of her father in 2015. She's an author and she's also a podcast host. Liz, thank you so much for coming on the Spiritual Spotlight series. I'm so happy you're here.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So let's just jump right in. Your journey sounds extraordinary. Can maybe you share the moment you went to skeptic to someone who is willing to explore the concept of an afterlife?
Oof. Yeah, I can't say there's exactly one moment. It's definitely been a step-by-step progression, but I think the first moment I thought an afterlife was possible was I had a thought that this was, I think my dad was just recently moved to hospice and knew there wasn't much hope. And I had a thought, okay, so this is why I thought at the time, I don't think this now, but that our consciousness is created by neurons firing in our brain. And if that happens once, why would, in say 300 years, another set of neurons firing in a brain create another, me getting to experience another consciousness? Not Liz, not karma based, just getting to at least experience being somebody. And I wouldn't get to be with my dad again. He wouldn't get to be with me. We wouldn't, but it's certainly better when you think the alternative's complete obliteration. And I Googled that and I found the research of doctors Jim Tucker and the late Ian Stevenson,
Mhm.
who are professors at the University of Virginia, child psychiatrists, and they are studying cases of kids with past life memories in a very data-based scientific approach.
Mhm.
So that was absolutely the most life-changing first moment. I thought, oh my God. Wait, am I allowed to swear on your
Of
podcast?
course. I mean, your
Okay.
title is
Like,
WTF. Of
holy.
course you're loud.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. That's where I had my first major what the fuck. Like, what the fuck is this? Oh my God, there is an actual tangible possibility that we could survive bodily death in some way.
Yeah. I find it fascinating when you do look at research of people who have like past life recall, like that have come I don't know if you believe in reincarnation, that are on this earthly plane and then they're like, I remember when I was this. Like I don't have
Mhm.
any like connection to that, but when I see that, I'm like, what? Like it's fascinating and
Mhm.
it's also delusional to me.
That was the first thing I found, and that was being studied by child psychiatrists
Yeah.
who have private practices and teach at the University of Virginia, teach psychiatry. And
Yeah.
so I'm just like, these are not woo people. And
No.
if you look at Dr. Jim Tucker, he goes and verifies these kids' memories. And in some of the strongest cases, there's just, I mean, what can you say? There's no normal explanation.
That is so, so true. So you've described
Yeah.
yourself as sciencey skeptic, which is quite intriguing.
Yes.
How does this scientific
Thanks.
skepticism guide your exploration into topics like afterlife and also into mediumship?
Um, I think there's a big misconception, and I had this too, that afterlife was primarily based on religion and faith. I grew up in a very secular culture as well
Mhm.
as a secular family. So it just, that wasn't even part of my life. I just had heard vague ideas of God and heaven and never sound possible. And that was the only vision I'd heard of or explanation I've heard of an afterlife. I'd heard of reincarnation, but from a very spiritual karma base.
Mhm.
And I've heard of mediumship and I pictured it again, very sort of spiritual based. And I pictured it either complete frauds or very honest people who believed it, but
Right.
weren't actually doing mediumship. And a sciencey skeptic approach is learning that it's twofold when it comes to mediumship, since you asked about that one specifically, although there's many tenets of afterlife,
Yes.
but
Yes.
and yeah, afterlife exploration. But in terms of mediumship, it's twofold. First of all, learning about the vast body of data and research being conducted on psychic mediums, such as up to quintuple blinded studies being conducted by the Windbridge Institute by Dr. Julie Beischel and Mark Bacuzzi, who are the founders, and they do blinded studies on mediums to confirm they can get accurate information and specific information, because I mean, anyone could give a fake accurate medium reading. Like you probably have a couple great grandparents on the other side, and and they, give a bunch of, it's not that hard to get. They loved you. They loved
Yeah.
their children, they probably didn't know you, but it's not that hard. So it's very specific information that
Right.
these mediums are required to get, such as someone's hobbies, careers, personality traits, and then controls would be, hidden identity of the people. So reading the numerous studies,
Mhm.
other studies are being done, such as by Dr. Jeffrey Tarrant, who studies mediums' brain activity and sees different brainwave activity when they're giving medium readings versus psychic readings, which is reading the energy of a living person versus not doing any of
Right.
the above. So that's where part of the sciencey skeptic comes in, because it's expected to be verified. The other is getting my own medium readings,
Yeah.
and I hide my identity completely, and I score the medium readings for myself, and want them to get also accurate and specific data beyond the odds of chance. So that is how I would describe it.
I find that fascinating. I mean, someone in the spiritual realm, and then someone as yourself who, I like the fact that you're testing it. No, you want the science behind it. And it leads me to your podcast, and then we'll go to your book. I love your podcast title. WTF Just Happened, all about the afterlife. No woo. Can maybe you share an episode or an experience that made you truly go to yourself, what TF just happened?
Oh my God. Okay. Let me pull like out of 10,000. It's just constant. So if we take away learning about all the data I've been reading, or the first time when I read about Dr. Jim Tucker, my biggest first what the fuck, and I discovered he was like being interviewed on NPR, like serious places were taking his work seriously.
Mhm.
Some personal experiences, I can give a couple.
Sure.
One, my first medium reading, my heart was in my throat. I was expecting most likely to leave heartsick and devastated. And she just got information after
Mm.
information. Another huge one was one time I got medium mystic information myself. And I
Mhm.
actually title that chapter of my book like the number one biggest what the fuck to ever happen, or so close to that.
Yeah.
But I went sort of as a joke. I was at an event with, if anyone doesn't know, the Forever Family Foundation. They use science-based testing to certify psychic mediums, and they have a team of scientific researchers,
Mhm.
and they use these mediums to host events and grief retreats to help people with their grief. They have a bunch of other resources. But
Mhm.
I was at one of their events, and as a joke, well, this was a convention where people, as well as dealing with grief, could also hone in on their own
Yeah.
mediumistic abilities. And a panel of their mediums would offer feedback on people's readings. And as a joke, they dared me to go do one, just knowing I had no abilities. And it was so weird. Like, I start getting all these sensations.
Yeah.
And I went to this one medium. I don't know why I picked him, but I just walked over to him. This was my first Forever Family Foundation
Right.
event. Now it wouldn't be so remarkable because I'm friends with all of them. So most likely I unconsciously remembered stuff about them. But this was my first time meeting these
Yeah.
people. I knew nothing about them. And I went over to this one and I just started getting like all these waves moving through me. It was so bizarre. And all the waves went and congealed in my heart and started bursting there. And I was like, did somebody die of a heart attack? He said, yes. Then they moved to my brain and in a specific spot, like left all my body and just started like bursting in my
Yeah.
brain. I was like, did somebody die of an aneurysm? He said, yes. I mean, so I was getting, it wasn't a good enough reading that someone should hire me as their medium or anything, but I was getting the experience of the sensations and experience of
Yeah.
mediumship. And after that, it just opened me up a lot more in my research to believe mediums and be able to hear them when they said, well, I don't know exactly, but I'm kind of feeling this. Whereas before I was like, yeah, all right. But so that was a huge what the fuck and a big transition for me to open my mind to the research.
And you've investigated psychic mediums, taking ghost hunting classes, and even attended seances. maybe what is some
Yes.
compelling evidence that you've encountered to maybe rethink your skepticism?
Oh my God, constant. Okay, so from like, well, in terms of the ghost hunting class, it was not in person, so I didn't actually attend, but it's
Mhm,
taught at the Ryan Education Center by Lloyd Arbach, and just learning about him and some of the research he's done, because
mhm.
he's a stage magician as well as a parapsychologist, so he would be able to recognize a lot of the phenomena
Yeah.
if it's being staged, and he's had so many experiences, he said, where he assessed it was genuine. And that was one aspect related to what I'd say with ghost hunting.
Mhm.
Okay, the seance I cover in my book was completely fraudulent. So I did not get any good evidence from that. But that helped me assess that, yes, that I'm not lying to myself, because it was so different than my experiences where things were more genuine. And it's not my book 'cause it happened very recently,
Mhm.
but I did attend an event and there was table tipping there, which is part of seance. And I am pretty convinced it was real, as convinced as I get
I
about
actually
things from
lead
my
table
experience with
tipping
that.
events, and they're definitely real. Like,
No, oh
so
my God. Oh,
they're
good.
definitely real. And I will say that as you're talking about this, I just had a book completely fall off my bookcase. Like, it's just like
Oh my God, I love
physical
that. Wait, what's
mediumship
the
to
title of
me.
the book?
Physical
What's the title
physical
of the
medium.
book?
It's actually my binder that has all the interviews that
Oh,
I've been doing for the series, the
okay.
Spotlight
I
series. I'm like,
was like,
I'm like,
maybe it was a
why?
significant title. Okay.
But table tipping 100%. I find it I actually go to a spiritual shop. My friend owns a spiritual shop and she has a circular table and we do table tipping and we set the table and it gets going and we actually have clients one at a time will come up and they can experience it and see like look, it's not us manipulating it, ask it a question, let's go. Like and it's just fascinating the energy shift of it and it's people love it.
Oh my God. It was really like, not only was it fun, like I was expecting it to be more fun. It ended up being this remarkably profound experience where like my mentor had passed away really sadly in the middle of all my research, and
Aw.
we called her in and she came in for me. It was really
I love
meaningful.
that.
So,
I love
and the
the
whole
fact that
group
you're
was pretty
open
cool.
to it. Like you're willing to
Mhm,
experience it. And I do get your point about the seance because I myself have
mhm,
attended I would say it's a physical mediumship seance where they actually apport things out of their mouth. And it's
mhm.
very
Yeah.
interesting and I'm still not 100% convinced. Like
Mhm. This one I'm convinced is fake. Like this one without a doubt was fake.
yeah.
That doesn't mean all of them are
No,
fake.
no,
Like,
100% agree with you. Yeah.
but
It's like
yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
But
They're kind of hokey.
yeah. Yeah, this one was hokey. I did a little poking around. I found like his prop kit. So, too. I mean, I was like, no, you're full of shit.
I love you.
But
I love the fact that you're like, no,
yeah.
you're gonna uncover it, whether or not it's true, authentic, or just full of
Mhm.
shit. So let's talk about
Yeah.
your book, WTF Just
Oh, thank
Happened.
you.
A sciencey skeptic explores grief, healing, and evidence of an afterlife. I know that it was your father's passing that motivated you to kind of dig in and possibly write this book. Maybe what's the central message you're aiming to convey or that you do convey in your book? And you can see in back of
The
her, the wonderful
oh,
book is right in back of
yeah.
her. I love it.
Yeah, I have to do the little promotion.
Of course.
Yeah. Um, the main message really I'm hoping to convey is that there really is valid reasons to think that we could survive bodily death. I also have like underlying messages like grief. There isn't a right or wrong way to
Mm,
experience grief, and there's so much pressure in our society that tells you how you're supposed to handle it and supposed to feel. But
so
primarily
true.
it's that, yeah, like afterlife is not about necessarily spirituality or faith or belief or wishful thinking. There's tangible evidence
Yeah.
and very logical reasons that someone like me, I kind of try to show how my mind works, and that if I can conclude there's most likely an afterlife, the evidence is really strong. I try to take people through it in a very fun, light voice, as if you were my friend sitting, meeting, and having a coffee. You know, it's very like hopefully approachable and personal.
I love that. And it was also a number
Thanks.
one new release on Amazon.com. So I just want everyone to know like this book is amazing and make sure to check it out because it is amazing. It's our
Oh,
best-selling
thanks.
new and featured. You can tell I'm trying to read. New and featured. Rachel needs to get her glasses out. Okay, guys. So another thing, you've mentioned that
Mhm.
you're a cultural Jew, but also an atheist. How do your cultural
Mhm.
beliefs intertwine or maybe conflict with your explorations into spirituality and the afterlife?
They don't at all. Like cultural Jew has nothing to do with God. It's like we like bagels with lox and cream cheese and have a certain sense of humor. It's really a cult. I mean, yes, to some people, Judaism's a religion. To
Yeah.
me, and the way I was raised, it's a culture. It's a bit of like a personal identity, and
Yeah.
there's an aspect, approach to like I'd say secular Judaism really isn't about religion or God.
Gotcha.
It's like like dialect, like words, like oh, a they, it's very cultural, like yeah, like inside jokes, humor, like certain foods, which so to me it never was religion in terms of believing in God, so it doesn't conflict at all.
I love that. My
So
sister is also an atheist. I don't know. I'm not sure if you still
mhm.
resonate with being an atheist. And she's like, I'll be pleasantly surprised. If there's a heaven, I'll be pleasantly surprised. It's all good. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess I sort of resonate as an atheist. I mean, more, I guess it's such a definitive word, and I try
mm,
not to be a definitive person.
gotcha.
Like, I never really even considered myself necessarily an atheist till I started like studying this. And I'm like, well, that really describes, I just never thought there was a God. I never really was around people who thought about it. It was just very irrelevant. So I guess I'm
Wow.
more of an evidentialist, and I've never seen evidence of like a God or heaven. But that doesn't mean there aren't multiple states of consciousness, some
Absolutely.
material, some non. And I think that's much more explained by physics than religion. We just haven't fully explained it yet.
Absolutely. So in your on your website, you have can you please tell us the hilarious story behind Peanut, your chihuahua, and his encounter with Harvey Weinstein?
Oh God. Okay.
Rachel
Yes.
did her research,
Oh,
okay?
you're I never know when it's gonna come up. I usually assume it doesn't, but when I do, I just laugh so hard. I mean, dark humor.
I love
Let's
dark
go there. We're
humor.
already talking about like, okay, we're already talking about like dead dads. So let's go with like others. So like this part's not really my story to tell, so I won't go into it. But like
Okay.
a friend of mine was sexually assaulted by Harvey Weinstein, and at one point, yeah, horrible,
I'm so
horrible.
sorry.
And thank you, yeah, thanks from her. But on the light side of that, like I'd been doing a summer internship, and my parents got me this apartment in New York, and she was my roommate that summer. And at one point, I wasn't there. Okay, so I had my dog Peanut. She's a Chihuahua mix, pug Chihuahua, and this
Oh, that's a
tiny
mix.
little awkward thing. That's a mix, a chug. I mean, the press just called her Chihuahua. It was easier, but it was like a little
I like the
complicated to
chug.
get.
I
But
like that.
the chug, yeah, yeah. Oh, funniest little sweetest dog. She's since passed, but she was like with our family, like, oh, my baby girl. And she loved everybody, and except Harvey Weinstein. So apparently I wasn't there, but like horrible. Like he burst into our apartment, and she chased him around, and he ran away and got scared. And I ended up being like a secondary witness and testifying in the trial on behalf of my friend. Oh yeah, crazy, crazy. So part of it, I will use this one moment to brag. I mean, I like apparently like ripped his lawyer to shreds, and that went viral. And then I also mentioned part of it, which is just true, that she chased Harvey Weinstein around. He was terrified. He was like running away from her, and he's like, what is this thing? Get it away from me. Remember, she's a Chihuahua mix. She's like 12 pounds and cuddly
Exactly.
and
And he's a
cute.
big ass blob of a man.
Huge and disgusting and like this massive, I don't even know what. And so he's like running away. He's like, terrified of my little chihuahua. So that came up in the testimony, of course, goes viral. Peanut gets like a segment on, I think it was like Court TV.
I love this.
It's just thousands of like blogs and papers. It was like I found one in like China, like India. I'm like, fucking chihuahua is now like
famous,
famous an influencer, a social rights, women's rights activist. I don't know. And she was like the most awkward little dog too, which makes it even funnier. She was like not the most competent dog, just like cuddly, silly, wanted attention all the time.
I feel like your dog was intuitively connected and knew like not to have this person around.
Yeah, I think so. Oh yeah. And probably also she felt like Miriam's like my friend. I mean, I use her name. It's just
protective. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you shouldn't obviously use someone's name in this situation, but like it's all over the, I mean, it's the story's known and her name's known. So I didn't want to seem like
no
disrespectful that I said her name, my friend's name, but yeah. But yeah, she probably sensed her like disgust and fear, but like, yeah. But it was like, and then they asked Harvey as he left the court case. I didn't know this was going on then, but right after my testimony, like all the press was like, "Excuse me, Mr. Weinstein, are you afraid of chihuahuas?"
I love that. I love that.
I love that. Oh my God. I can't. Yeah. Yeah.
So if anyone is interested in finding your podcast, WTF Just Happened, All About the Afterlife, No Woo, is it on all podcast channels, Spotify, Apple, everywhere?
It's on all Spotify channels. You can also go to my website and just click on the podcast tabs and it will link to all the apps too.
Amazing. And if anyone is also interested in purchasing your book, also go to your website. And what is your website?
My website is WTFJustHappened.net. And then you can get the book. You get on Amazon. It will just like link right to it. You can get the Kindle or paperback. And I'm in the middle of recording an audiobook. And I'm close to finishing What the Fuck too. So my second book. So
I love that. Yeah. Okay, so what get us maybe a glimpse of your second book about to come out.
Sure. It'll be out in a few months, self-published. So it takes a little bit of time, but I'm getting to it. It is primarily picks up where What the Fuck the first one left off, and it so much has happened since then that I include all of that, and I talk a little bit about everything with Harvey Weinstein too.
I love that, because when this airs, your book will already be out, so I'll have to make sure to link WTF 2 to this as well. Yeah. Will there be a third then?
Oh, Yes. I have notes on the third because stuff, just crazy shit. Like the table tipping keeps happening, but that happened way after the timeline. WTF 2. I actually don't know what it's going to be called yet. It's either going to be WTF Just Happened 2 with like a different tagline, or I might call it something different, like WTAF, like what the actual fuck, it's still happening. Oh my gosh, I don't know. I've got to talk to like my,
we will make sure to link
the fuck will be in the title.
The Fuck's Elizabeth's second and possibly third book. I love this. So, and you're also your podcast.
Thanks. Third's a little down the line, but it's coming. It'll be there. Oh, what? Okay, yeah.
I do. I think it's fascinating. Like it's going to keep going down the line. So, Elizabeth, thank you so much for coming on the Spiritual Spotlight series. I look forward to hearing about your third, fourth, fifth, sixth book, and thank you so much.
So much for having me. I really appreciate it. This was such a fun conversation.